Let's talk about Justin Fields. So, of course, the Bears sitting there with the number 1 overall pick. There are trade rumors flying like crazy. Multiple GMs are, quote-unquote, fairly convinced, Michael, the Bears will deal the quarterback. According to Jason Locke on Forum, multiple NFL general managers came out of the Senior Bowl fairly convinced Fields will be traded. Would you ship Fields and replace him with a quarterback from this year's draft?
I think I certainly would. To me, watching the game tape, I would say yes. I didn't have a chance to. I don't watch their practices, but to me, I have 2 concerns. Can he ever become Jalen Hurts in terms of that offense, and can he stay healthy running that offense? Right? I mean, he has not been durable in his career, and he takes hits. He's going to take hits. He's going to have to run that offense. Now, what could you get for Fields? I think that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't like his release. I don't like his ability to stay consistent with accuracy. And at the end of the day, you have to throw the ball to win in the NFL. And I think Hurts proved that he's gotten better at throwing the football. Because I think at the end of that game, they were throwing the ball. They made throws. Hurts made throws. So, I would certainly say to myself, I would not rule it out if I were the GM. I wouldn't say for certain I would, but I have a lot of doubts about Fields. And if I go down the Fields road, if I'm going down that road, I don't know where I end up. Do I end up with a Super Bowl team or do I end up fired? If I go down this Hurt Fields road that Ryan Pace drove the car on, am I going to lose my job because I can't get him to play quarterback? The last thing I want to do is 3 years from now draft another quarterback.
What we do know is the Bears have more cap space than anybody. Maybe I think it's close to double the next team in line as far as cap space. So they have plenty of money.
That just means they're gonna overspend. But you have to be careful. You can't be like the kid at the candy store or me down at Ward's Bakery, just eat every donut. You got to be careful about it, right? You got to be able to think this through, and you want to build something that's cohesive to the quarterback, right? So that's the biggest issue. Is like, who are we? Who are we? What are we going to be on offense? Well, we want to be, Jonathan Gannon said we want to be multiple. Okay, I get that. That's great to say. We want to be more. What's our core? Who are we? Are we a size, speed team? I don't care whether we're 34, 43. That's insignificant. But who are we, and what are the positions that we need most to get that fixed? That's what you have to have answered. That's what a lot of teams don't ask themselves when they walk into the job. See, Shane Steichen comes in Indianapolis. He's got Gus Bradley over there. He's got Bubba Ventrone. He's just trying to figure out what he's doing on offense. Does that mean this is going to work? It could for a year, but that doesn't mean you have full understanding of who you are.
The value of Fields is a fascinating question. So 2 years ago, of course, drafted 11th overall in the 21 draft, started 15 games last year, started 10 games in 21. His rookie season, his completion percentage went up from 58.9 to 60.4. So you look at a couple of the numbers. I know you're not overly impressed by him. I'd be fascinating to see what teams are telling the Bears they'd be willing to give up for Fields.
Well, see, I think to me the Bears haven't made that phone call. I don't think the Bears have made that call. I don't think the Bears have said, hey, we're going to trade Fields, because that would get all over. I think the Bears are evaluating the quarterbacks in the draft, which they should do, comparing those quarterbacks to Fields. And then once they feel like, okay, I think C.J. Stroud is way better than Fields, I'm making this up, then I'm going to trade Fields. Because remember, they have the first pick in the draft. So they don't have to con anybody. They don't have to play possum here. They could just say, okay, once we make the decision, here's where we are. Then we're going to go trade him. If we trade Fields, so now, what are we going to get for Fields? What's that value out there? Who liked Fields coming out in the draft? Who wants to go with Fields? All those are fair questions to ask, And look, when Fields leaves and goes somewhere else, are you prepared to – look, he's a dynamically talented athlete, but he's going to – you prepared to have an offense that doesn't throw the football? Are you prepared to go there? Remains to be seen.
I think exactly what you said at the onset. Teams are asking themselves right now that need a quarterback, could this be the next Jalen Hurts? There were questions, some of the similar questions that now teams have about Justin Fields and fans have about Fields. Could Fields turn into a Hurts? That's the question.
Right. And so my question back to you would be, if the answer is yes, why don't the Bears keep him?
No, I think the Bears are sitting there with all this cap space, number 1 overall pick, looking around like, this is our opportunity. We could get creative. Maybe we like the guy. Maybe we don't. But there's just so many things that they could do.
What
here.
are we going to get? What do you think somebody would be willing to pay a 1 for Fields? Nobody, a top 10 one, no. A middle one, perhaps. I mean, this is in the NBA. You can't trade 5-2s for a guy, you can't do that, right? Those picks are valuable.
So, for example, we talked about the Colts yesterday, who have the 4th overall pick. I don't think the Colts are willing just to give up 4 overall for Justin Fields. That's pretty obvious.
That would be insane to do. Why?
Yeah. But I'm saying then you start going back down to teams that need quarterbacks, and you start asking yourself, would they be willing to give up that pick? Because the Bears are going to be looking for a first rounder, regardless of whether or not they're going to get it. That's what they're going to ask.
But once you take Fields, though, Patrick, you're committing to the 6-back offense. Are you ready to do that? Nobody's taking Fields thinking we're going to run the West Coast.
No. Your point is well taken. Your point is well taken that there's a philosophy. The team has to have a certain philososy. So that
you got to go all. Many. You're either going all in or you're not. And would somebody take Fields for a mid-round pick? Sure, why not? I got nothing invested in him. I'll give it a shot. But if I got to give up a lot to get him, then that means I got to go all in on this.
I'm going to ask you bluntly. Can Fields turn into the passer that Hurts has turned into?
I would say no, but I didn't think Hurts could become as good a passer. But I will say this about Hurts. They don't ask him to make any anticipatory throws. It's all high-low, half-field reads, which he has been able to do behind a very good line. And I just think, to me, with his release, Fields' release is problematic. The ball's too inconsistent coming out. And then, look, durability. I mean, he's not the same guy that Hurts is in terms of his lower body power.
Good one. I wonder if Steichen, who's sitting there with Indy, is looking at somebody like a Fields. Again, not giving up the 4th pick. I'm not saying that. But looking at Fields and saying, I did it with Hurts. I could do it here in Indy with Fields. I'm positing.
I think he's got to say to himself, Fields is going to be the most unbelievable worker of all time. That's what Hurts is.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.